Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Design Notes. I'm Zach with Deck the Home, and today we're going to be traveling to the Upper West Side of New York City to visit famed director Oliver Putnam's New York City apartment. Come along with me. Okay, so I told a fib. We're not actually going to New York City in today's episode, but we are going to take a look at all the layers of Oliver Putnam's apartment from the hit show Only Murders in the Building.
Only Murders in the Building.
If you haven't seen Only Murders in the Building, the show follows Charles, Oliver, and Mabel, three residents living in the Arconia, an apartment building on the Upper West Side of New York City, as they solve murders that have happened in their building and produce a true crime podcast. It's a wonderful show, and I highly recommend checking it out on Hulu.
What flavor do you have there?
Vegan sea salt oil?
Jesus, when did ice cream become a hand lotion? Millennials, honest, they're so boring.
But we are going to spend some time today going through the layers of Oliver's apartment and looking at each one and how you can design a space in your own home that draws inspiration from the collected, layered interiors of Oliver's apartment in the Arconia. So come along with me, and as we break this down layer by layer. So first, we have to start with the walls, the backdrop. Each room, the wall is covered in wall coverings of some variety and some sort, which I think is really beautiful. So when you enter into the apartment, you're greeted with these bold floral patterns and bold colors. You enter into the large living area where you're met with walls that are upholstered in a Ralph Lauren plaid. You go into the dining room and you're being watched like you're on an opera stage with a custom printed opera wallpaper. So each room is very opulent, and the wall coverings just add to that opulence and beautifulness of the room. You'll also notice too, if you've looked at pictures of the rooms like I have or watched the show, that a lot of the wall treatments and wall coverings are actually applied inside larger moldings. And this is a really great technique if you're looking to do something like this in your own home, because you can apply wall treatments without having to commit to that floor-to-ceiling wallpaper, which is so common. But the wall treatment, or the wall molding, being applied around the wall treatments really helps frame them and gives just a little pause. Now, I would be amiss to say that another hallmark of the walls and the backdrop of Oliver's apartment is the bold colors and the rich, deep tones that complement the bold wallpapers. So if you're trying to capture the look of Oliver's apartment in your own home, or a look similar to that, this is not the time to go with beige and grayish. It's time to leave those at the paint store and go for deep, bolder colors like deep merlot, gold. I think there's some reds and pinks in there as well in other rooms, even a darker library room. All these rich colors really work together to create this really cozy space. So if the walls are the backdrops, let's talk about the furniture, the main actors in this space. The furniture in Oliver's apartment clearly has been haphazardly collected over time. It shows, you have different pieces from different periods. You have shell chairs in the dining room, which I'm sure are a callback or a piece left over from his hit Broadway flop Splash. And so each one of the pieces, nothing matches. Each one of them's different, which I think is really great. And what this allows you to do, if you're doing this look in your own home, is bring in different pieces from different time periods. Bring in things that might not necessarily go together in a catalog or in a store. So again, looking at Oliver's apartment for inspiration, you have these really modern green velvet chairs. On the opposite side, you have a more traditional tufted back sofa. The two together work really well, but they probably shouldn't from a design perspective, but they do, and it's really beautiful. And then you have French style chairs over in the corner, and all of those pieces, again, from different time periods, working together collectively to make a cohesive room. We also can't talk about Oliver's apartment and not talk about the furniture placement. Oliver has a unique setup in his main living area in that it's very narrow but very long. So at one end, it's flanked with a stage, which what Broadway director wouldn't want a stage in their home? But then you have a larger open space that you have to do something with. And in this apartment, what they've done is they've created spaces, which I really like. I think it's a really great way if you have a very large space to break it down into more manageable arrangements. So at the far end of the room, you have a seating area with a sofa, a coffee table, 2 chairs, tables, lamps, very traditional of a sitting area. You move to the middle of the room, you have a piano, you have some chairs around the piano where people can sing. Inevitably, people are having these lovely late night soirees where they're probably singing show tunes. I mean, who wouldn't love that? So it creates spaces that have functions for each space. And then again, on the far end, opposite of the seating area, you have the Broadway stage, where no doubt Oliver has played out many of his famous Broadway productions and blocked them out in his own apartment. So again, if you're trying to create this look in your own home, it's going to be about defining what the space is for and defining how you see yourself using it. So you may not be a Broadway director with a stage, but maybe you have a place in your home that this is your morning coffee corner. And so you like to sit there and you like to read the paper and have your morning coffee. This is your entertaining space. So if guests come over, this is where you're going to sit and you might have a cocktail, you might have light hors d'oeuvres, whatever that might look like for you. But defining those spaces and having each one of them have a role in the bigger show is really important. So we've talked about the backdrop and the lead actors, but we can't miss all the supporting roles that come together to make Oliver's apartment this dreamland for myself. And those are the lighting, the artwork, and the accessories. So the lighting, the one thing that I really love is that there's lots of lamps. There's lots of low lighting. There's really no harsh overhead lighting to be found in the apartment. There are some stage lights, but I mean, what director with a stage wouldn't want some stage lights? But for everything else, there's really lots of lamps. Every table has a lamp on it. There's just a lot of low lighting around that really creates this ambiance in the apartment. And lighting is really important when you're thinking about designing your own space. So if you're trying to create a similar feel or vibe in your own space, or even if you're struggling with lighting, I suggest trying to have 3 sources of low lighting. Maybe that's having a lamp and a floor lamp and another source of light. Just mixing it up and getting creative with where you place your lighting in the room really does make a tremendous difference when you're thinking about your own space. So we talked about lighting, let's talk about artwork a little bit. I love Oliver's apartment and all the artwork that you find. Again, everything is clearly collected over time. He is a true maximalist. There are family portraits on the wall. I actually think there's a picture of Annie Oakley, from Annie Get Your Gun. There's posters from his Broadway productions. There's prints. There's all sorts of artwork that's just mixed together and creates this beautiful, comforting space. So in thinking about this in your own home, think about collecting artwork. One of the greatest pieces of advice I heard from a designer, I believe it was Bunny Williams, said, whenever you travel, buy a piece of art. It's a great souvenir. And over time, you'll amass this collection of artwork that you really love and has a true meaning to you. And I think you can do that too with life events like Oliver's shows. If you have something in your life that means something to you, frame it. Try to create a piece of art for your home that whenever you see it, you're reminded of that really wonderful memory. Also, you'll notice there's lots of gallery walls, lots of different arrangements. Some things are hung more linear and very clean and very modern. Other things clearly are hung on the walls in a little bit more scattered configuration, which I think, again, adds to that collected nature of the home. And then finally, accessories. So we've talked about all the different players, but if you look around the apartment, it's all the little stuff that fills in the spaces around the furniture and the lighting and the walls that makes it feel like home. In this apartment, that's plants, that's tons of books. There's coffee cups everywhere. There's newspapers. There's just little trinkets and family photographs everywhere. And I know that's not everyone's style, but I do think having those things in your space really does make it feel more inviting and feels like someone actually lives there who has personality and story and history versus just having a completely empty table. Also, too, pillows. There's a lot of pillows featured throughout this apartment, and nearly every chair has a pillow on it. But if you want that collected look when it comes to pillows, try mixing up different things. Try mixing a traditional tartan with a silk brocade, with a ikat fabric, or even an animal print. Like mixing all of these prints together from different regions of the world, different time periods, creates this eclectic look. So if you're trying to do this in your own home, I would step away from buying things in pairs. I know it's really tempting sometimes when you're out and you see something you like, you just want to buy it in a pair so that you have it. But I'd really caution you to do that if you're trying to go for this look, and buy things in ones, or buy what you love and mix it together. Because ultimately what this room is all about is just blending. Things don't match, they just blend, and they blend in a way that creates harmony. So, my final thought on an Oliver Putnam room: always more. Always more. The bigger, the better. The more dramatic, the better. That is going to give you that collected Oliver Putnam look. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode and taking a look at Oliver's exquisite apartment. If you did, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to see more breakdowns of either Only Murders in the Building or other TV shows, let me know that as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe this video for more content from Deck the Home. Thanks for watching Design Notes, everyone. Blackout.